In 1900, a Greek sponge diver named Elias Stadiatos surfaced from the Aegean Sea, shaking, barely breathing, and told his crew he had just seen a graveyard of rotting horses at the bottom of the ocean. What he actually found was far stranger. At 45 meters below the surface, near the island of Antikythera, lay the wreck of a Roman cargo ship, sunk sometime around 60 BCE. Inside it, buried under 2,000 years of sediment, was a lump of corroded bronze roughly the size of a shoebox. No one could tell what it was. It took over 50 years, an X-ray machine, and the combined efforts of archaeologists, physicists, and computer scientists to crack it. And when they did, they uncovered a device so sophisticated, so impossibly precise, that it didn't just rewrite history, it shattered our entire understanding of what ancient humans were capable of. This is the story of the Antikythera mechanism, the world's first computer, a machine built over 2,000 years ago that could predict the future of the stars. Let's set the scene. The year is 1900. The Antikythera sponge divers, a crew from the Greek island of Symi, are caught in a storm and forced to anchor near the small island of Antikythera, northwest of Crete. When the storm passes, they dive, and one of them, Elias Stadiatos, encounters something impossible. At 45 meters deep, beyond the safe limit for breath-hold diving even by modern standards, he finds a Roman shipwreck stretching nearly 50 meters long. Inside it, marble sculptures, bronze statues, glassware, coins, the treasures of an entire civilization, frozen in time. The Greek government dispatched a military vessel to help recover the objects. For 9 months, divers pulled artifacts from the seabed, a dangerous operation that cost one diver his life and left 2 others permanently paralyzed. Among all the statues and coins and pottery, one piece was barely noticed at first, a calcified, corroded lump, roughly 33 centimeters tall and 17 centimeters wide. It sat in the National Archaeological Museum in Athens, largely ignored, until 1902, when archaeologist Valerios Stais noticed something strange. Gears inside the rock. He was promptly dismissed by his colleagues. Gears, they said, from ancient Greece. Impossible. This must have ended up in the wreck from a later era, some kind of medieval device, perhaps. They were wrong, and proving them wrong would take half a century. Here's what nobody asked at the time. If this was the only one ever found, how many more were there that we'll never know about? Fast forward to 1951. A British science historian named Derek J. de Solla Price hears about the Antikythera fragment. He examines it. He becomes, by his own account, obsessed. Price spends over 2 decades trying to understand what this thing was. He gets access to early X-ray scans in the 1970s, and what those scans reveal changes everything. The mechanism contains at least 30 interlocking bronze gears, some with teeth so fine they had to be cut to tolerances measured in fractions of a millimeter. The largest gear is 13 centimeters across, the smallest just over a centimeter, and they all worked together in a system of extraordinary mathematical elegance. Price published his landmark paper in 1974. His conclusion was stunning. The Antikythera mechanism was an analog astronomical computer, a hand-cranked device that could model the movements of the sun and moon, predict solar and lunar eclipses, and even track the 4-year cycle of the ancient Olympic Games. Built somewhere between 150 and 100 BCE. To put that in perspective, the next mechanical device of comparable complexity wouldn't appear in Europe until medieval astronomical clocks in the 14th century CE. That's a gap of over 1,400 years. A gap so wide that some historians still struggle to explain it. Because here's what makes this genuinely unsettling.
The Antikythera mechanism didn't just track time, it predicted it. You could set its dials to a specific date, past or future, and it would show you the position of celestial bodies with remarkable accuracy. Scientists still don't fully understand who designed it or what intellectual tradition produced it. And there's something else Price noticed in his analysis that he never fully explained before his death in 1983. The gear ratios inside the mechanism encode a number, 223. That number is the Saros cycle, the precise number of months between repeated eclipse patterns, a cycle that modern astronomers still use today. How did an ancient Greek craftsman encode that into bronze gears over 2,000 years ago? If that wasn't surprising enough, the mechanism came with a manual. Inscribed across the surfaces of the bronze fragments are over 3,500 characters of ancient Greek text, a user's guide, essentially, to operating the machine. For decades, scholars could only read fragments of it. The corrosion was too severe, the letters too small.
Then, in 2005, a multinational research project called the Antikythera Mechanism Research Project deployed a technology called polynomial texture mapping, a system that uses multiple light sources and advanced imaging software to reconstruct surface details invisible to the naked eye. What they found in the inscriptions was staggering. The back of the mechanism contains a parapegma, a star calendar that listed the rising and setting of specific constellations across the year. Constellations that ancient Greek navigators and farmers would have used to structure their lives. But buried deeper in the text were references to something the researchers didn't expect: the 5 planets visible to the naked eye: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. This suggested the mechanism may have originally modeled planetary motion as well, not just the Sun and Moon. If true, it would be even more sophisticated than Price ever imagined. In 2021, a team from University College London published a new reconstruction. Using the inscriptions as their guide, they proposed that the front face of the mechanism, only partially preserved, once displayed a full cosmos dial, showing all 5 planets moving in their orbits around a geocentric model of the universe. The math required to model those planetary cycles in bronze gears is, by modern standards, extraordinary. No one can explain exactly how the ancient Greeks achieved this level of precision with hand tools and no digital instruments. Or, perhaps more troublingly, why there's no other record of it. No workshop notes, no letters, no accounts from contemporaries describing what this machine did. It exists in total historical silence, except for its own corroded body, speaking in gears. But it gets even stranger, because to understand this device, you have to understand the world that built it. The dominant theory is that the Antikythera mechanism was created somewhere in the Greek island of Rhodes, or possibly the broader Hellenistic world. The civilization that emerged after Alexander the Great's conquests spread Greek culture from Egypt to modern-day Pakistan. Rhodes, in particular, was a center of astronomical learning. The philosopher and astronomer Posidonius ran a school there in the 1st century BCE. The legendary Hipparchus of Nicaea, often called the father of astronomy, had worked in that region a century earlier. Hipparchus is the man who first calculated the precession of the equinoxes, the slow wobble of the Earth's axis over a 26,000-year cycle, without telescopes, without computers, using nothing but the night sky and mathematics. His star catalogue, compiled around 129 BCE, listed the coordinates of over 850 stars. And here's the connection that makes historians pause. Several of the mathematical cycles encoded in the Antikythera mechanism match almost precisely the calculations attributed to Hipparchus. Was he involved in designing it? Did someone build it from his work? We don't know. His original writings are almost entirely lost. We only know they existed because later scholars quoted them. Think about that for a moment. An entire intellectual tradition, advanced enough to produce a working analog computer, survived only in fragments, in quotes, in the corroded teeth of a single recovered mechanism. How much of it is still out there, somewhere, waiting to be found? And more urgently, how much of it is already gone forever? Now let's talk about what this machine actually did, because this is where things move from impressive to genuinely haunting. On the back of the Antikythera mechanism are two large spiral dials. The upper one tracks the metonic cycle, a 19-year period after which the phases of the moon repeat on the same calendar dates. This cycle is so accurate that it's still used today to calculate the date of Easter in the Christian calendar. The lower spiral is the one that stops people cold. It's the Saros dial, and it predicts eclipses. The dial is divided into 223 cells, one for each month in the Saros cycle. Each cell is inscribed with a glyph, a letter indicating whether an eclipse will occur that month, what type of eclipse it will be, solar or lunar, and even what hour of the day it will be visible. Modern astronomy validates the accuracy. The glyphs align with actual historical eclipse records from antiquity. Someone 2,100 years ago built a handheld device that predicted eclipses with enough accuracy that, if you cranked it to a date and saw the eclipse glyph, you could walk outside and watch it happen, right on schedule. For ancient civilizations, eclipses weren't just astronomical events. They were omens, portents of war, plague, the death of kings. The ability to predict an eclipse, to announce it before it happened, would have made the person holding this machine look like either a god or a sorcerer. Which raises an obvious and deeply strange question. Who used this? What were they doing with it? And why was it on a cargo ship? The ship the mechanism was found on was likely heading to Rome, possibly carrying luxury goods for a wealthy Roman patron. Some scholars believe it may have been seized as war plunder. Others think it was a commissioned item, bought or made for someone at the highest levels of power. Was Julius Caesar's Rome on the receiving end of this machine? We may never know. There's no name on the device, no shipping manifest, no buyer's record. Just gears and silence. Here's where the story becomes almost unbearable. In over 120 years since the Antikythera wreck was first excavated, the mechanism remains completely unique. No second device like it has ever been found. Not in Greece, not in Rome, not anywhere in the ancient world. Not one. For comparison, Roman military equipment, Greek pottery, Hellenistic coins, these are found by the thousands all across Europe and the Mediterranean. The written record of the ancient world, though incomplete, references entire libraries of scientific thought. Yet the most sophisticated scientific instrument ever recovered from antiquity exists as a single specimen. This is what some archaeologists call the orphan artifact problem, an object so advanced that it has no context, no precursors, no successors that we've found. It arrived in history fully formed, and then, apparently, vanished. In 2012, marine archaeologists returned to the Antikythera shipwreck with modern technology.
ROVEs, underwater metal detectors, 3D mapping equipment. They found new artifacts, new sculptures, even a human skeleton, later yielding DNA, but no second mechanism. The wreck may not have been fully excavated yet. Marine archaeologists estimate that a significant portion of the site remains buried. In 2023, a new phase of excavations resumed. Whatever else that ship was carrying is still down there, in the dark, at 45 meters, waiting. Let's step back for a moment and sit with what we've learned. 2,000 years ago, somewhere in the Hellenistic world, a craftsman or a team of craftsmen sat down with bronze sheets, hand tools, and a mathematical framework developed by astronomers who had spent lifetimes staring at the night sky. And they built a machine, not a weapon, not a tool for agriculture or construction, a machine for understanding time, for mapping the movement of the cosmos onto the turning of gears. A machine that said, "We can predict what the heavens will do, and we will build something that proves it." And then it sank. And then it was forgotten. And then the civilization that built it declined. Its libraries burned, its scholars scattered. And 1,400 years passed before anyone on Earth built anything remotely like it again. We didn't lose the Dark Ages because people got stupid. We lost them because knowledge is fragile, because the systems that preserve and transmit understanding, schools, libraries, institutions, traditions, can be erased, slowly, quietly, one fire at a time. The Antikythera mechanism survived because it was made of bronze, and because the sea buried it before anyone could melt it down. What didn't survive was everything around it. The name of whoever built it, the school that trained them, the other machines they probably made, the understanding passed from teacher to student, from island to island, that made all of it possible. Gone. And so here is the thought I want to leave you with. We tend to think of human progress as a line, a long, continuous march from primitive to advanced, from ignorant to knowing. The Antikythera mechanism says something different. It says progress is more like a flame in the wind, brilliant, warm, capable of illuminating extraordinary things, and terrifyingly easy to extinguish. What we've recovered from that shipwreck isn't just a device. It's a message sent across 2,000 years of silence from people who understood the stars with frightening precision. The message is simple. We were here. We knew. And almost no one remembered. The question that should haunt us, the question that should keep you up at night, is not what the ancient Greeks understood. It's what we might be forgetting right now, today, that the people who come after us will spend centuries trying to piece back together. If this video made you see the ancient world differently, drop a comment with one word that describes how it made you feel. No wrong answers.